Look at this. Isn't that a beauty? $8 on Amazon.
That's a nice case.
And it makes you look like James Bond.
Yeah, yep.
Open that in a strip club, my friend, you're halfway home.
Hell yeah, you got it all. you locked and loaded.
Not that you've ever been in a strip club, I imagine.
I love strip clubs.
Me too. Well, you know what? Here's my defense.
Yeah.
Not that I have to convince you or anybody. Fuck everybody. That's my plan. No, but okay, so I'm on the road. It's 10 o'clock, the show's over, right? I don't want to go to a restaurant because I don't want to eat when I'm on the road. I don't want to eat bad food. I'm only on the road for like 2 days at a time. Like I can bring all my food in a little bag, have something in my dressing room that's already in my contract. So like I can go the whole little short weekend without eating bad food. So I don't want to go to, and I don't want to eat at 10 o'clock at night. Am I going to go to a club? Because I'm not you. I'm not your age. And, you know, it's just ridiculous. And it's too fucking loud.
It's loud as fuck.
Too loud.
Yeah,
and,
fucking loud.
You know, I'm not going to go to a bar. I don't really drink anymore, although I'll have one with you.
You don't got to drink with me. I ain't drinking. I'm drinking water.
A strip club, it's at least, it's not too loud.
Yeah.
It's got to, you know, they've kind of morphed into after-hours clubs.
For sure. Yeah.
Am I wrong?
No, they're definitely a little bit more loungy. Yeah, they're more chill.
More loungy.
Yeah, yep.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't feel like there's this stigma that there used to be. Like, not that I ever really gave a fuck about it, but a little bit, you know. I mean, you're in a different branch of show business. So it's a little more, you know, acceptable. I mean, I know you break records sometimes, don't you?
Yeah, I'd love to go to the strip club to break records, to see how the girls react to it. Even just like building a reputation, it was kind of necessary to be in some of those environments because they want to hear your name and know that there's yeah, exactly. There's fun involved, there's money involved, there's all of this other, you know, this cool shit that comes along with it. So, you know, that definitely becomes a part of it. But I honestly, like, I respect the dancers. Like, I'm like, it's a real art. It's a sport. Like, you know, some of those pole tricks, that takes a lot.
Takes a lot, and not just that, but strip clubs have morphed over from when I first went in I couldn't even afford to go before the 90s, but even before the 90s, there weren't the strip clubs that are of today, which are like fairly big. It was like, you know, some broken down old place by the airport. Yeah. And there was like 2 GIs with a heart on and a $3 bill and one old broad on the bar, you know, where they're serving the beer. It wasn't like, and then it became in the 90s, they became like emporiums.
Like fucking circuses and shit.
Which one? I've never seen an elephant.
You haven't?
No, but I've seen some fat girls.
You got to come to strip club with me.
Boy, have I seen
some elephants walking up in there.
But I feel like when I first went, the first one I ever went to was Rick's.
Okay.
In Houston, which is a town that breaks a lot of fun. Yeah. You must be big in Houston.
Houston's cracking. I love Houston.
They have the right attitude, don't they?
Yeah. They got good food, Southern hospitality.
Southern hospitality. Yeah. They're not looking for a fight.
Nah, hell nah.
I always vibed well in Houston. Anyway, Rick's, as I think, was the first one, and I remember walking in that place, and it was like out of a Hieronymus Bosch painting. It was like, you know, where they're in hell, but hell looks really good.
Yeah.
There was just, everywhere you looked, there was a gorgeous model-looking chick, and they had like these perfect bodies and not an ounce of fat on anybody. Fake tits, of course, but like these bodies that you only saw in drawings.
Yeah.
And but they were wearing gowns. You know, sexy gowns, but it wasn't like now where like we've moved. See, they took away the one thing that the strip club was famous for 3,000 years is stripping. The slow revealing of the body was the art. Yeah. And there was no touching. If you just touched their leg, the bouncer would come over and admonish you.
Right.
Whereas now, we're naked to begin with.
Oh, yeah.
And it became about like lap dancing, which is a nice way of saying grinding on dicks.
Yeah, for sure.
And I feel that's wrong on many levels.
Yeah.
I don't want to participate in that.
Yeah.
I think it's terrible to make girls do that. It's one thing to like look at them unravel their dress and admire their body.
Right.
That I get, but this is just a different thing. And I feel like they kind of fucked up the whole thing.
Yeah, nah, I'm with you, bro. Like, I don't really even like getting lap dances. I don't like when chicks is like all on me grinding and shit, because I'm a player. So I like to look good. I like to smell good. I don't want makeup on me. I don't want all that shit all over me.
Yes.
So it's like, you know, you could do all of that over there and it looks perfectly fine. So I'm right there with you.
Makeup. Yeah. I mean, there's many a night I went to bed a white man and woke up a black woman.
You know what I'm saying? And the reverse for me. Right. I woke up a white woman.
Right. I said, get up, bitch. I got shit to do. Well, I'm glad we agree on that very fundamental part of life.
Yeah,
it is interesting the way they are, strip clubs are becoming more mainstream.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
They're virtual now. It's like in the crib, they do it online.
What?
And they got virtual reality, yeah. Yeah. You never seen the virtual reality strippers?
No.
Or the online
virtual reality strippers.
Yeah,
I don't even know what that, like, isn't that what pornography is? But
it's even more real. You can get a pair of goggles that make it VR, and the girls look real. Like, if you reach out, you feel like, I mean, you're not grabbing tits, but it's like, it's close, bro. Like, yeah.
Your generation is so fucked up.
Yeah.
So fucked up. Yeah. I mean, just this love affair with virtual, and I mean, I don't want virtual. I mean, the very word, it just announces itself as less than the best. Hey, it's virtually. Somebody says something about that, you know. I don't understand this satisfaction with not really being someplace, and especially with sex and that whole thing with.
It's crazy. There's a lot of people who would rather do it that way.
Masturbate.
Not even masturbate, like just be in a situation that's not real.
Do you think this is partly because you're taking too many of the women?
Oh, no, not me personally.
No.
Nah.
Oh, come on.
Hell no. I be chilling. Any of the chicks that I get, I want who wants me. So, you know.
You only want who wants you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so if they want me.
But I'm sure that's a lot.
You know, who knows?
You do. What do you mean, who knows?
If I walk
know.
When I walk in a room, I'm not like, oh, this chick, that chick, this chick. You probably could do that.
No, you're being ridiculous.
See, you can do that.
No. First of all, I'm 67 years old.
You got more game than I do.
That's true.
Exactly.
But you know, no, I don't know. I'm sure first of all, you don't even need game. By the way, that's the great paradox about game. If you need it, you don't have it.
You think so?
Yes, I think the ultimate game.
Okay,
is
I like that. I like
exactly who you are.
I like that.
And that's one thing. Like women, just like men, can be dumb about a lot of things, but boy, they smell inauthenticity.
Yep.
Even if they're like dumb about everything else, they can tell who's real. I remember they used to write these, I never bought one, but they had these books that were advertised in magazines like How to Pick Up Girls.
Right.
And you'd read a little excerpt. And it was always basically like fake it. I mean, that's what they were saying. Because they're talking to loser guys, you know, and they were like, you know, don't call her back and like, yeah, you know what, try that.
Yeah, exactly.
She won't answer at all because they, like, if you really can get away with not calling them back right away, if you really are busy and have a lot of other girlfriends or whatever it is, they just know that.
For sure.
Somehow.
Yeah.
And if you're just doing it because, I'm going to make her think, no, they know that.
No, you're right.
So game is no game. And
I'm with
it takes it took me certainly a long time to be like confident enough to be that way. Like, well, I do like you, but I can be happy without you.
For sure.
And
chicks like that.
What?
Say chicks like that.
You think so?
Hell yeah.
Of course they do.
Hell yeah. They respect that.
What they like, we are attracted to beauty like in a way that's very fundamental and very lizard-brained because our, nature wants us more than anything else to procreate.
Right.
Especially in your tour bus.
For sure.
But so we are attracted to that way because we see, beauty, and it says to our DNA somewhere inside of us, oh, this will make good offspring. Her features are symmetrical.
Yeah.
Her skin glows. She will make a fine mother.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's very poetic.
Right.
Hell yeah.
Oh, I try. I haven't put it into verse like you have, my liege. But yes. But women are attracted to something else, and of course they like good looking too. But like what really gets their nads, I think, is confidence.
For sure.
Because they want someone who's strong and can protect, and that's their deep-seated DNA.
Yeah,
They're like a real man. I think most women.
Definitely.
Not all the trans kids these days, but the old school chicks.
For sure.
Yeah.
The ones
with the vaginas.
Like you said, it's like that confidence, and being masculine isn't being over anything. No. Yeah, it's just being yourself and knowing how to work a room, and sometimes it's being sensitive too. Not being too sensitive.
Absolutely.
But,
Right. Don't be a pussy.
Yeah.
Don't cry unless your mother dies.
Right. The basic shit.
Right.
Chicks, they look at the best examples of what kind of they grew up seeing. So if they have a strong father figure, or if they see somebody on fucking TV that whatever it is, that's what they're molding that shit after.
Right.
Whether it's right or wrong. So like you said, as long as we could just be ourselves and just carry what we bring to the table, we'll end up navigating that crazy ass road.
This array of jewels.
Yeah, the jewelry.
And that must attract the female of the species.
It does. But it's crazy because it's easy to know who's attracted to that shit and who's not.
What?
It's easy to know, and it's easy to see. And
so you wear it as a test?
No.
Whoever is attracted fails?
No.
Oh, okay.
What I usually do is I'll go some places with it, and I'll go some places without it. So the places without it.
Who are you hoping to attract here? It's just me. Hey, what kind of a show do you think this is?
I thought it might have been some chicks here. It's definitely a difference, and you can see the type of attention. And this, I don't think it's just attention in general, because people gravitate towards whatever they like, but it's definitely a certain type of attention for sure.
Is it wrong to say that women are attracted to shiny objects?
I don't think all women are. There's a lot of women, and there's a certain type of women.
Right.
But not all women. Nah.
Yeah. No, of course
not all chicks. Not all chicks dig this stuff. Not all women even like to be called chicks. That's just my word.
They don't. And we don't mean anything by it. There's nothing wrong.
It's just my word.
It's everybody's word. It was a word. Trust me, this goes back like cook crack. I was saying chick before you were born.
Right.
That's been around forever.
Right.
The Dixie Chicks.
Right.
Changed their name at one point to just the Chicks because it was politically incorrect to even mention Dixie. Okay. And then somebody pointed out that Chicks was wrong.
Right.
And then
the wrong part.
They were going to have to just call themselves the. Isn't that funny? But yeah, we don't mean any harm. And you should be able to speak freely.
For sure.
And that's what this place is all about.
Hell
this
yeah.
whole thing. And I mean, I really try to, when I'm here, I try to only be with people I really want to talk to, and then talk exactly as we would. There's nobody else here. You don't see any cameras or anything. As if we were mere.
Yeah.
And that's what we would say. We're not like cleaning up our conversation.
No, hell no. I don't want to do that.
Nor are we being purposely provocative or purposely anything. And we would say chicks, and we would know that the audience trusts us enough to know that we respect women.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's not like calling them. I mean, even bitch was like a word that was like, just omni. What's the word I'm looking for?
Yeah.
Omnipresent.
Yeah, right.
In rap for decades.
Right.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you've used it.
Oh hell yeah.
Yeah. I know you have.
My mom don't even care. Like, I probably started cussing in my, well, no, I was always cussing in my raps because my mom smokes weed, so she always been cool. Like, she always knew what my music selection was. She knew what I was listening to. She knew what I was watching. And my dad was more the one who was like, you know, this isn't appropriate for a kid, like, blah, blah, blah. Like, you know what I mean? But I feel like my generation, we were just growing up picking what we wanted. Like, it wasn't as far as like what you can have or what you can't. I guess that's kids in general. That's what kids do. They choose what they like. And for me, I was always into like really hardcore rap or rock, or like, I listened to what my parents listened to as well. So I listened to funk and everything, R&B, fucking whatever. Like, so I have a really good, you know, palette when it comes to music. But when I definitely started making my own music, it was always, you know, say what I want, do what I want, talk about what I want. I never really tried to like mask that shit or like, you know, be somebody who I wasn't, like in my music. Like, I always wanted my parents to see that shit and be like, okay, accept it too.
It's refreshing, I think, to have happy music.
Mm-hmm.
That, like, first of all, music is the kind of thing that comes into your life, like TV or anything else, that you're probably indulging it at that moment in the day because you're not working, or you're not like arguing with someone, or it's a break for pleasantness.
Yep.
So, you know, does that mean that we can't have music that's about serious subjects? Of course not. Or television shows or movies that are about serious subjects. But a lot of the times, like, no, I'm looking to power down now.
Yeah.
I just want to feel good. I'm using this to feel good.
Right.
So I can't be worried about all the problems in the world right now.
Right.
So I like, you know, your approach was not like, I'm angry and things suck and America sucks.
Yeah.
You know, okay, we know there are parts about America that suck.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't need the memo 24/7.
Yeah, hell no. Like, that's what the news is for.
That's what that's what I'm here for. To tell you the bad news. You're here to lighten it up. But it is true.
Yeah, no.
I like, you know, one of my great friends, you probably know him or met him, Christopher Reed from Kid and Play. Okay, well, when Kid and Play were first on the scene, they were huge. This is like early 90s, late 80s, early 90s. And then, you know, and they were working your side of the street.
Right.
It was happy, you know, house party.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah, we're just having fun.
I looked
Kids
up to that
having
shit.
fun, youth.
Dancing.
Right.
Dressing fly. Being
and
cool.
then they got like
washed out,
because hard rap came in. And it had to be about, well, we are taking a dim view about what law enforcement is doing in this neighborhood.
Right.
They phrased it differently.
Yeah, I think there's both sides of it where it's like, you could be very political, but then, you know, a lot of those political rappers, you know, Ice Cube ended up doing family movies and, you know.
Snoop.
You know what I'm
got
saying?
Commercials.
So you grow out of that shit. It's a phase. Like, being a gangster is a phase. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Sometimes it's a phase that lasts inappropriately, like this basketball player, John Morant, who just got suspended for brandishing a gun a second time. Okay, first of all, I don't think it's like the end of the world to have a picture of a guy with a gun. He didn't actually fire it, you fucks. Okay, it's just a picture. Okay, it's not a good message to kids. I get it. My question is, like, why? Like, are you in a gang now, Ja Morant? No, I think you've got a giant house. You've been in the league 5 years.
For sure.
Your contract is for hundreds of millions of dollars. Like, why are we living in the past? Why are we still, I get that some people have to be, you know, you got to make a living. Sometimes on the street. But he doesn't. It's almost like, I just want to say, you're playing a character.
For sure. I think it's just because he's young and he don't know no better.
But stop playing a character.
Well,
Be yourself.
When you're young, you don't know the difference between your alter ego and who you really are.
Oh, that's an interesting thing. You gotta write a song about that.
Nah, for real, because I noticed that. And you really don't even know the difference when you have such a talent and such a big personality. You don't know when you're being that character and when you're being yourself.
And that's true of you?
It was before.
Your alter ego being?
More like a party animal. Yeah.
But
well, when I was younger, I always felt like I would be like a party animal forever. Like I love to party, and I love to be the life of the party, and I love to just wake up and get turned and be around the homies and do this and do that. And the older that I got, I really just realized that it was a phase and it was just, something that was good for a certain reason, but that wasn't all of who I was.
So you're saying that at one point your alter ego and your actual self were doing the same thing. You were 100%. Being the party animal.
Yeah.
But then you gave up on that part.
I didn't give up on it. I know how to separate the two.
As a comedian and host of a TV show and podcast, I get to live in my own little show business bubble. But I had no idea that in the real world it can now take up to 11 weeks on average to hire for an open job position. Even in this economy where apparently nobody wants to work anymore. So if you're hiring for a growing business, do you really have that kind of time to wait? Well, I've got some advice for you. Stop waiting and start using ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find qualified candidates for all your roles fast. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/random. ZipRecruiter can help you hire in a bunch of ways. They have matching technology, kind of like a dating app, but for work. And you can personally invite people to apply with just a click. It's a recruiting tool with 80% of users getting a hit in the first day. So speed up your hiring process with ZipRecruiter. See why 3.8 million businesses have come to ZipRecruiter for their hiring needs. Just go to this exclusive web address to try ZipRecruiter for free. ZipRecruiter.com/random. Again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/random. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. Do you like adventure? Check out Expedition Unknown, a podcast with Josh Gates from Discovery Channel. Josh Gates is a member of the Explorers Club and has a degree in archaeology. Panty dropper alert! On Expedition Unknown, he travels all over the world searching for lost cities, buried treasures, and the truth behind unsolved legends. From the remote jungles of Cambodia searching for a lost relic to the American Midwest to find the legendary loot of Jesse James, Gates wants to get to the bottom of these mysteries. Listen to Expedition Unknown wherever you get your podcasts. I must say, I would think I traveled the same path, except that I was such a loser and so poor and nowhere, like in my teens, through most of my 20s, even into my 30s, I wasn't setting any worlds on fire, that I couldn't really be a party animal. You have to have some some sort of yuge to go on in your life to like be. And then when I got to, late 30s, 40s, it was a little late, but you can pull it off. I certainly did.
For sure.
Tried.
It's when that money comes in.
Right, money, and
you
also
get the
feeling confident. And people know who you are, and you can go to a nice restaurant.
That's when the bag,
right?
That's when the bag hits.
The bag?
The bag, yeah. I got the bag at 19, so I went crazy.
What's the bag?
That's $1 million. Your first million.
It's called the bag?
That's the bag when the bag comes. Yep. You get the bag, you start acting different.
You can't do that much anymore with one bag.
Not one bag.
I mean, it's better than none.
Yeah, exactly. But when you first get it, you feel like, I'm gonna go to whatever restaurant, I'm gonna buy whatever champagne I want, I'm gonna take whatever flight I want, I'm gonna get whatever girl I want.
I remember.
I'm gonna get 3 girls if I want. I'm gonna hang with the homies.
Right.
I'll talk crazy to you because these fools got my back. You know what I'm saying? All of that stuff.
So
it starts to kick in like when you get the bag, and you gotta learn.
I remember when I was half in the bag.
Yeah.
I still tried to do all that. No, not all that. Your game is a little different, but I take your point. Somebody once said, or I read it somewhere, that everybody who becomes famous deserves to get like 1 year to act like an asshole.
For sure.
And I remember telling Howard Stern, I may have taken 2.
Yeah. I might have taken like 10.
Really? You think?
But it's acceptable in my
No,
field, you know?
it's-
And that's the thing about with him, is like, it's not acceptable in his field, you know? And
Well-
that's the difference. And that's where the discipline comes in of, you know, okay, you're young, but you'll learn from it. But at the end of the day, you know, your job is a little bit different.
Your thing about 10 years and
Yeah.
like getting away with anything, it's so funny because I was just watching Trump's town hall on CNN and somebody asked him about his famous remark that was, a lot of people thought that he was going to get finished in the election. It did not come close to finishing him. Obviously, he won that election. But when he said, when you're a star, women let you grab their pussy, or something like that.
Right.
And she asked him about that in the town hall last week. And Donald Trump is an amazing man. I mean, he certainly is loathsome as, in many ways, as I've certainly never been short on discussing. But he is kind of like, it's almost like he's been given sodium pentothal sometimes. And I'm sure that's what a lot of people love about him. He's almost incapable. He's both the biggest liar in the world and he's sort of incapable of lying. Like anybody else would have, like she said, would you stand by that statement that when you're a star, you can grab pussies? And he basically just said what we're saying. Not that I've ever grabbed anybody's pussies, and I'm sure you haven't either, but like when you're a star, and you know this much more than I do, because this is like the level stuff you're talking about. I'm glad I was spared by just being a lowly comedian. But that people will do anything for you. They try to get you the best drugs. They bring women over. I mean, you just said it. These four fools behind me have my back, so I can do anything. It's not like Trump's. You know, he was kind of trying to say in his clumsy way. He said, "Well, for better or for worse." I think what he meant is worse for the woman.
Right.
It was a terrible, inartful, stupid thing to say. Or maybe it's the worst version of it. I don't know about him. I can't even get into his head. But he wasn't denying it.
Right.
He was just saying, this is, and of course, he always has to exaggerate. So he said, this went back 1,000,000 years, like we know.
Right.
Like we know what happened 1,000,000 years ago.
Right.
Like there were guys, like he knows about a guy 1,000,000 years ago who was grabbing some cave woman's pussy.
Exactly.
No. But point being, like, he was trying to say, this is the way of the world. Like, stardom does mesmerize people.
Yeah.
Not just women, it makes people go nutty.
Yeah.
It does.
Sure. It 100% does. Yeah. Stardom is a really big responsibility. And being good at what you do, too, is like, it's fucking crazy. So it's a lot to deal with, it's a lot to navigate, and it's a journey, man. It's like so many people try to put so many rules on what you should do or how you should act and how you should do things.
Like
but
who? Who are you talking about?
I'm just saying in general, like with their opinions of what's right or what's wrong or what
What are you talking about? The internet? You're talking about your parole officer? I don't know who you're talking about.
I would say the internet more now because of how free it is with opinions, but just society in general tries to tell celebrities or famous people what their behavior should be and how you should react to situations or what you should say behind closed doors or how you should feel.
Cancel culture? You mean like judging you and then like how dare you? Like
I wouldn't even say cancel culture because that's more of a new thing. I'm just saying in general, like people in general have this perspective that like celebrities should be perfect or they shouldn't fuck up or they shouldn't do things that, like sort of how people think about your parents. Like when you're growing up, you think your parents are fucking perfect.
No, right.
Yeah. Like that's how I feel a lot of people look at celebrities or people with, you know, people with power is like they just do everything the right way, and that's not true.
So what was your upbringing like? Your parents?
My upbringing, my parents were in the military for the early part of my life, so I moved around a lot.
Oh.
Yeah.
An Army brat?
I would say that, yeah. Well, they was in the Air Force. They was in the Air Force.
Both of them?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Both of them, they met in the Air Force, yeah. My dad's from New York and my mom is from Pittsburgh. So my whole dad's side of the family is from New York and my whole mom's side is from Pittsburgh. And I moved around till I was about a teen.
Oh yeah, that's your big song.
Yeah, yep.
Right.
Yeah, yep. I moved around till I was about like 13, and then that's when I settled in Pittsburgh and started making music and just doing my thing out there.
But your parents, they stayed together and they were...
No, hell no.
Oh.
They got divorced when I was 2.
Oh. So you split time between them?
Yeah.
Okay. But they both stayed in the military. So
my dad stayed in longer than my mom did.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you were always living in different locales?
Mm-hmm.
See, it's interesting. I've heard this story from other people, and it tends to make people one of two things. Either kind of shut down because, well, I can't make friends because every time I make a friend, I lose them because we move.
Okay.
Or like able to be friends with everybody.
That's me.
I was gonna. Yeah, I see that.
Yeah.
Because you kind of have to. You develop that. That's your personality because you're always making new friends. Because now it's a pleasure to make new friends.
Yeah,
This is a pleasure.
Yeah. But
when you're a kid, I mean, it's tough.
Yeah.
Unless you get good at it. You got good at it.
I was always used to it. It was normal to me.
Right.
Like every 2 to 3 years, I would have to move. So that was just my life. Like at 2 years old, I moved from where I was born. At 4 years old, I moved from that place. At 6 years old, I was somewhere else. At 10 years old, I was somewhere else.
And what was your experience about being welcomed into these communities you went to? Did you feel welcomed? Like a normal kid?
I think just being a kid, it was kind of I was just moving around. And the older that I got, the more I started to realize like the difference. Like there was like a culture shock. I would be living in, I would be going to a school in maybe South Carolina and living on base where things are pretty normal, pretty structured. And then I would go back to Pittsburgh and, shit would be totally fucking different. And I'd be like, yo, like.
How?
School in Pittsburgh was like going to jail. Like, yeah, metal detectors.
Right.
We had lunch tickets. The line was different. The way people talked to the teachers was different.
Right.
Just everything was totally, it's like a movie. It's like, you know what I mean? When you go to the cool school and then you go to the bad school, that was the bad school. And like,
Somebody once said the schools in America either look like high schools. They either look like prisons or colleges.
Yeah. Our Pittsburgh is prison for sure.
Right.
And that was normal to us, so we didn't want nothing else.
It's such a scandal.
Yeah,
to me,
but the older that I got, the more I realized it was like, fuck, this shit isn't right. Like,
no, it's such a scandal to me that we have, and there's plenty of blame to go around, but have let schools in America become horror shows. Of course, not everywhere, like you say, but like places where the teacher commands no respect.
Right.
So how could a kid who wants to learn, they're basically punished.
Yeah, for sure.
Because the bad kids are gonna monopolize the time and the energy, and there's a fear factor. I mean, the teachers, this is so alien to me the way I grew up. A teacher being fearful of a student, just did not exist when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I mean,
it was crazy. Because I grew up in a wild area, so I went to a Jewish high school. It was a high school in a Jewish neighborhood.
Wow.
So there was hardcore, just straight Jewish kids, and then there was other kids
that
too.
That explains all those payas. You know what that is?
No.
The payas? You've seen the Hasidic Jews. They have just like
the curls.
But it's usually just one.
Yeah,
on either side.
I thought that's what you was talking about.
I'm just saying, you took it. That's where you got it?
Yeah, all right.
Okay. You just went to town with it.
All right, for sure. But so it was a good mixture, but it was like what you said, there would be times where it would get disrupted just by other, outside energies. And I don't even really blame the kids because it's like...
Outside energies.
Yeah, it's like our neighborhoods and where we come from and some of the households and some of the, the older generations and what was being passed down to the younger generations. Like, we didn't really have the best examples of what to do and what not to do. Right. So it's really just fucked up, and it's like, it's kind of a weird cycle that you have to be, kind of unprogrammed or reprogrammed to break. Because I don't know what school's like now, but I really hope it's not like it was when I was in high school.
It's worse.
It can't be.
It is.
Because there's more technology, so it can't be.
Technology, you think, fixes everything? Technology basically makes everything worse. Of course, it does a lot of great things as well, but it ruined our brains. The iPhone ruined people's brains.
Yeah.
We're having, I'm on strike now because the big issue is AI.
I just think with technology, you can learn what you want to learn.
You can. It
Like,
doesn't mean people will. Yes, every technology comes along has the ability for humans to use it for great purposes. And what do they use it for? Masturbating. That's what people basically, the first thing they try to do with every new technology is figure out how to fuck it, jerk off to it, come on its face. Right, okay? So, like, yes, people could use the phone. All the information from all of mankind is there, but do they? No. They're scrolling through fucking pictures of bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, that's somebody who's been exposed to that already. But like, kids or somebody who wants to learn something that they don't know, it's way more accessible now than it was before. Like, you had to go to a library or get an encyclopedia and go through all of this shit. And for somebody who actually cares about, and there might not be a lot of those people, but I was one of those kids. So I have faith that they still exist, that you're just born that way and you have to get exposed to other bullshit to learn that. So hopefully, there are still minds that are intrigued by shit to say, oh, I want to learn this today. And you can dive into it and go into a big-ass wormhole online.
There are.
And you can educate yourself. And that's where school's kind of fucked up to me, is like the curriculum doesn't like go for everybody. But if you could be an individual, educate yourself.
You can educate yourself, but you can also do it in a haphazard way. For example, history. Kids don't know history anymore. They really need to. It's important to everybody's, I think, well-being of the mind to know history, because you have to know where we came from. They have no perspective. It's like, I was just dropped here by Martians and I don't need to know what happened before me. That didn't matter because I wasn't alive for it. And so if something intrigues them, say that happened 500 years ago, they look it up. But they don't know what happened before that and before that.
But that's the thing
As
about
opposed
it,
to taking a course in college, which would takes you through the whole story of mankind, so that you know exactly when you're reading about what happened 500 years ago, it makes sense, because it would be like coming into a movie an hour into it. You wouldn't know what happened.
Yeah. I think it is a scary time because all of that shit's being rewritten. Whoever wrote that book or made that course is old as fuck now. It's 150 years old and there needs to be a new one. And somebody has to do it, somebody has to write it. Like you said, somebody has to be educated on it, but it has to be a new way. They can't keep teaching that same course because that's going to get played out after a while.
Well, no. There are things that are timeless and need to be learned over and over and again.
Classical music is timeless because that's a creation.
So is classical Greek.
But
so is classical
history, like something that happened, isn't timeless. Like,
of course it is, because one thing
it matters to certain people, and it's effective for like the fucking, like, there's certain art renaissances and things like that, or there's certain waves that mattered, like even civil rights, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that shit mattered a lot in the 70s and 80s. We're fighting for totally new things now. So those things are good, but it's hard to teach kids the importance of that because they didn't go through it. Like, my son is mixed and he goes to a different school, so it's hard to teach him about that, make him know, like, hey, as a black man, blah, blah, blah. He don't understand that shit.
Good, that means we progressed.
Exactly.
Yes, I agree.
Exactly.
That we should, I'm always saying, let's live in the year we're living in.
Yep, 100%.
I think too many people, I think your generation, they like being victims, all of them. So, like, they don't like things that rob them of the joy of being a victim. So they sometimes are living in an era that we're not living in there anymore. These aren't the bad old times. There are still problems, yes, but we're not living there. But as far as like understanding the past, yes, you do have to understand the past. To understand, like, it does affect you. I mean, you're able to live in a country that's a democracy because somebody invented it in classical Greece.
Right.
That was 500 years before Jesus, okay? It's important to know about Jesus historically, because Christianity is something that 1.5 billion people on earth believe in.
Mm-hmm.
You know, unless you know, have a perspective on these things, when issues come up that involve them,
Right.
Your decision making is kind of blinkered because people are not seeing the whole picture. And kids today, I can't fucking believe I'm still saying kids today, but it's true. Like kids today, it's not their fault. They just don't teach them history. Everybody's so upset about, well, they're teaching too much critical race theory or they're not teaching enough.
Mm-hmm.
And I keep saying, they're not teaching them anything.
Yeah.
I mean, I would start with just history in general. It's they're teaching history wrong. They're not teaching history at all.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, ask kids who got out of high school, the average kid, if the Renaissance came before or after the Middle Ages, they will have no idea what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not a good place for minds to be. Minds have to have a certain perspective. You should know somewhat about what came before you so you can place yourself on the timeline. You should have some idea, like how many people there are on Earth.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you could ask a lot of kids graduating from high school, how many people on Earth, and give them a multiple choice, and most of them would get it wrong. Is it 8 million people? Is it 8 trillion people?
Mm-hmm.
Is it 8 billion? And some would say, oh, I think it's 8 trillion or 8 million. And it's, of course, 8 billion. That matters because, like, how many people can Earth fit? Well, I don't know, but we seem to be straining at the resources with 8.
Yeah.
So Elon Musk thinks we should keep having babies, have more babies. He doesn't think we have enough babies. I agree with him on most things, but not on that one. The skincare world is heavily female-driven and has long been the wild, wild west for men. Whether men can't find the right brand or simply lack knowledge and understanding of it, skincare is something that requires attention. Luckily, men's skincare has never been easier with Caldera Lab. Clinically proven to reduce wrinkles, fine lines, and signs of aging, Caldera Lab is the leader in men's skincare and is here to save the day. Use our exclusive code RANDOM at calderalab.com to enjoy 20% off their best products. Caldera Lab creates high-performance men's skincare products, and The Regimen leads off their product lineup, a twice-a-day routine to transform your skin. As a man, you have to take care of your skin. Plastic surgery doesn't work for men, as I like to say. Then you look old and weird. Inside the Regimen bundle, you'll find your skincare dream team, the clean slate, the base layer, and the good. It's an awesome face wash, a daily moisturizer, and then a go-to serum used at night before bed to make your skin look tighter and smoother. Avoid looking like you just came off a bender with Keith Richards and take the leap to skin royalty with Caldera Lab. Get 20% off with our code RANDOM at calderalab.com. That's 20% off at calderalab.com by using code RANDOM. Take your health to the next level in skincare with Caldera Lab.
I still get giggly. I still get the munchies.
I definitely get the munchies.
I still get sleepy sometimes. Take me a little
horny.
A little
Does
cush
it make
nap.
you horny?
Yeah, for sure. Hell yeah.
Well, then we're the same. It's an up drug for us. For some people, it's a sleep drug.
No.
Whereas if I smoked it before I went to sleep, it'd be like drinking coffee.
Yeah.
It would keep me up. It makes my mind work.
Yeah, for sure.
Or do something.
Yeah, it's up.
It's up. Even indica.
Mm-hmm. That's what I smoke.
Indica?
Yeah.
But that's the one that's supposed to make you like. I know. I'm the same way. People talk endlessly at me, and and I own a part owner of a pot store here in town, The Woods.
Yeah.
Woody Harrelson's place. It's really Woody's place, but he cut me and McEnroe in for a little bit. But it's like it's the best pot store I've ever been in. I'm not just saying that. But the people at the pot store, all pot stores, they're endlessly talking about like indica versus sativa and strains and smell this and can't you tell that they treat it like wine. They're just like people who love their wine and I am just like, you know what? You people who are so into the drug culture, I'm not really into the culture. I'm mostly just into the drugs, and I get it that there's an array of things we could talk about related to this, but just, does it get me high or not? I don't care what strain it is. I don't care what it blew to get this way. I just, I don't care about the smell.
Right.
I just care about my head.
I could dig it.
So you smoke all day long.
Hell yeah.
And then you go,
yeah, what'd you say?
doesn't it make you too hungry?
Well, nah. It does, like, I like to eat, so I want to get the most.
How do you stay so thin?
I eat all the time and I work out.
Is that it?
Yeah.
You're very active?
Yeah, I work out 5 days a week, man.
Lots of sexual intercourse.
I'm a healthy guy. I'm actually in the gym working out.
You were married, but you're not married.
Yeah, I was married. I'm not married no more.
So what caused that marriage to end?
Man, I was young when I got married. I was 25.
Yeah.
And we had my son. And of course, I was like, that's cool. That's who I'm gonna be with forever. We're gonna do this the right way. We're gonna have a family and all of that stuff. And I think just the relationship, it was
ridiculous.
Yeah, it was just rough. It was just rough. It wasn't the worst thing in the world, but it's crazy because like
you're young free.
And it wasn't even like I wanted to be doing anything that I wasn't doing at the time.
What's your big young, free, and wild?
Young, wild, and free?
Young, wild, and free.
It wasn't even about that, man. I'm a family man, so I'm all about my family. But when you're young too, you start to you learn a lot about yourself. You learn a lot about your partner, and I learned that marriage, it takes way more time before you could be like, yo, I love this person and I'm gonna spend the rest of my life with them. Like I learned it's about mixing families. It's about, can you fucking live with this person?
It's ridiculous.
Mixing businesses.
It's a ridiculous thing.
Managing money, all that stuff. So it's a lot when you're in your early 20s.
It's a lot.
And you're just in love and you don't know all of that other stuff that goes with it. So
right.
The marriage didn't work, but I still, I'm still hella cool with his mom and shit.
Oh,
like
good.
that's still my homegirl.
Okay.
And we do a hella good job raising him, but yeah, I don't fuck with marriage though.
You don't think you'll ever do it again?
No, I don't see the point.
I don't see that. Exactly.
No, I don't see the point.
Coming around to my point of view.
Yeah.
I never did it.
Yeah, no, there's no point.
I didn't make the same mistake once.
Yeah.
Deal with that.
You did good. You doing all right.
Well, it's just, look, it works for some people, absolutely.
Yeah.
Gay people, not straight. No, I'm kidding. No, it does. I know people who absolutely would be completely lost without their spouse.
That's cool. That's cute.
It is cool if you have that. If you have that personality.
Yeah, hell yeah.
I just saw this. Actually, I'm not quite finished watching it, but there's this movie Tom Hanks just did called A Man Called Otto.
Oh, okay. I seen it on there, but I didn't watch it.
Okay. Yeah, I love the way he said, "Okay, like yes." I will accept that exists, and I will continue to ignore it. Well, I was going to ignore it, but I love Tom Hanks, and he's a national treasure, and he's pretty awesome at picking scripts, and I find this movie very engaging. But it's about, and spoiler alert, if you people, it doesn't. I don't think spoiler alerts spoil anything anyway. I don't care if I know what's going to happen.
Exactly.
Anyway, it's about he plays a guy who's his age, which is my age. And he's a recent widower. The wife dies. Mm-hmm. And then flashbacks where his son, Tom's son, plays him. Mm-hmm. You see him meeting the girl who became his wife. And so, he's just incredibly grouchy and unhappy because he lost this love of his life, who he spent his whole life with. And there was no other girl for him than that girl. Mm-hmm. And so he keeps trying to kill himself all through the movie. Damn. He puts the noose around his neck. He's got the shotgun under his chin. Oh, I'm telling you. In the garage with the motor running, Damn. And, right. So I'm just saying, like, I'm sure there are advantages to being married, but I feel like people can become so codependent that when one of them goes, you want to put the shotgun under your chin. Mm-hmm. You can't. You're like the roots of a tree.
Yeah.
underground that has intertwined with another tree for so long that you can't separate them. And I don't know if that's love or if it's just, I mean, in the movie it certainly is portrayed that way.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it is true love.
That's crazy.
But it's just, it doesn't seem to conform with how we're just not born with another person.
Right.
You know, we come into this world alone and we're going to leave it alone.
Yeah.
No, you know, no one can be like, when you're on your deathbed, no one can be like, I'll do it for you.
Exactly.
I'll die for you.
Right,
And some people would love you so much they would.
For sure.
You might do that for your own kid, but you can't.
Right.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Because we don't want that burden.
Yeah, it's, man, I believe in love like that, you know, like loving someone or being attached with someone. And like you said, you come into the world alone, but you have your parents, or you might not have some people might not have a good relationship with their parents or things like that, but if somebody passes, like you feel it, like, you know what I'm saying?
Of course.
But to go, you know, to those extents or to feel that you can't go without your partner and things like that, I agree with you. That's a different emotion. And I don't think that like you have to be necessarily like legally married to find your partner in life. You know what I mean? Or find somebody who you gonna be with forever, or brings out the best in you. And for you to grow with that person and learn that with that person, that's just life. Like, you know what I'm saying? You don't have to sign a piece of paper.
But it's gonna be,
like,
it's always gonna be hard for you because you're a rock star. There are always gonna be women throwing themselves at you. Right. I love the way this guy.
It's true.
It's true. Of course. You know who Hall and Oates is?
Yeah.
You do?
Uh-huh.
They had some like great songs. Daryl Hall did the show once here, and we were talking, and I just said to him like, "How do you, when you're married and a rock star, I mean, how do you resist?" And he just went, "It's impossible."
Yeah. You don't.
You don't. Yeah. So I mean, and I know every guy's dream is to find some girl who's cool with that. Well, spoiler alert, in the end of the day, there are no women cool with that.
No.
They can be for a brief period of time, but ultimately...
Yeah, not in the end.
Not in...
You're not gonna be in a relationship with her. The only way for that to happen is for it to be how it is with me, where I have my baby's mother, and we don't have a sexual relationship.
Right.
We're super cool, and she meets who I'm with, and she knows who I'm with because that's who's around our kid.
Child, right.
You know what I'm saying? But as far as it bothering or any other thing like that, like it doesn't interfere.
Well, you seem very, I mean, I'm only meeting you for the first time. I only know you an hour. But you seem very level-headed.
Yeah. I'm super chill.
Yeah. You know, you just come across as someone that a mother would not worry, despite the prodigious amount of weed that you ingest.
Yeah.
That, you know, the child is going to, you know, walk off the ledge or into the pool. Or,
she knows what's up.
I mean, rock stars don't have a great history of keeping their toddlers alive.
I'm out doing any rock star when it comes to that shit, and she know that.
No,
like,
I know.
The life don't change that, and it's like she knew me. You know what I'm saying? Before we decided to have a kid, so she knows my attitude towards life, and luckily, like, weed is more acceptable now. You know what I mean? Whereas 10 years ago,
weed in strip clubs.
Yeah, it was like
we're living in a golden age.
It was a little bit crazy. But
oh yes.
No, I mean that's the thing about having a kid and being a rock star is like everybody's not gonna agree with or understand what you do, but as long as you build your tribe and the people who you're raising him with are on the same page, then, you know, nothing goes wrong.
How old is
He's 10.
10?
Yeah.
Now, does he have a chain like that?
He don't wear jewelry. I bought him a couple chains, like regular nice little gold ones or whatever, but he don't really wear the jewelry like that.
See, kids always rebel against the parents.
No, it's his thing. It's like, yo, whatever you want. And then when you get into it, then it'll be there for you. But it's like, as a gift or something cute, or I get me something, of course I'm gonna get you something.
Has he expressed interest in girls yet, or perhaps.
Not really like on that level, like, yo, I want to
Boys,
have a
maybe.
girlfriend. No. No real, like,
Well,
you know how it's like, oh, I like this person, or
yes.
I'm into this person, or any of that. Like, nah.
I had not hit puberty at 10. I mean, kids today, they seem to get into it younger. Like, when I was 10, we still hated girls. Girls were like the enemy.
Oh, no, not me. I was macking on girls at 10.
At 10?
Yeah. Hell yeah.
I love it that you still say macking.
Yeah, I was macking on girls at 10.
I said that recently, and somebody, like, tried to bust my nuts about it. That was...
They playing.
It's the greatest term, isn't it?
Yeah, hell yeah.
You need that. They were like, oh,
10 years old.
The 90s called. They want their lingo back.
Yeah, nah.
No.
Nah, it's here.
Oh. Yeah, we're keeping it on ice. So what is the, apropos of nothing, but I forget why I thought of it, but what is the origin, the provenance of the great affection and attraction for the large ass? Like why?
That's a good question.
Why is...
Do you like fat asses?
No.
You don't like a fat old ass?
I do not. No, I don't, sir.
Damn.
No.
You're missing out.
I am not. We all have our taste, okay? I don't like sushi. It doesn't mean I'm wrong. It's just opinion, taste.
You ever felt a fat old ass? Like, squeeze it?
I mean, there have been asses, I'm sure, that have been in my hands that are larger than the average, but like, if I'm picturing the same thing that you're describing, I do not want to picture it. I've seen it and I wish I could unsee it. No, I do not like avoirdupois of that nature to an excessive degree. My friend Killer Mike, do you know Killer Mike?
Yeah, I know Killer.
He's the greatest.
Yeah,
Mike Renner.
Good dude.
He took me to the Blue Flame in Atlanta.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I'm sure
that's the home of it right there.
Right. I mean, there's another club in Atlanta. I remember somebody was telling, oh, he's going to probably take you there. And
Magic City?
Probably that.
Yeah.
And he said, that's for tourists. I'm going to take you to the real place.
Yeah, Blue Flame is the hood.
It certainly is.
Yeah.
We got some hard looks.
Yeah.
And I was with Mike's like the king of Atlanta.
Yeah, you good.
I know, but thank God. He said to my security guy at one point, I hope you can fight because I don't know if I can handle everybody.
Yeah.
And then we were just sitting there.
Mm-hmm. Did he take you during the day or at night?
A day?
Yeah, okay.
Oh, Wiz, if you're going to the strip club in the day, come on.
They go to strip club during the daytime in Atlanta.
People do a lot of things.
Yeah, it's like 4:30, 5 o'clock. It's cracking.
No. This was after my show.
I'm just saying, it's Killer Mike, bro. Anything.
Oh, it's possible.
Anything could happen.
No, I don't think they. No, I mean, if you're hanging out with a day stripper named Candy at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, something went very wrong in your life, I think. And that's somebody.
I'm not going to tell you that story then.
Right. Okay. But they had the bodies in that club were so exaggerately bulbous, both breasts and ass.
Yeah.
You know, that, I mean, I felt like I was in a cartoon.
Yeah. I agree with you. The bodies these days, they're not that.
It could not have been real, many of
yeah,
them.
hell no.
No, they inject.
Yeah, it's called a BBL. It's a Brazilian butt lift. And that's what, or fat transfer, like a lot of.
I feel like lift is a generous word for some of the asses I've seen.
Yeah, that's the thing. Some of them will get a fat transfer, so they'll go through this process where they're like gain weight for a couple months.
Oh.
And then they'll go to a country and then they'll get all of the weight taken out of the bad places and get it put into the places that they want.
But being overweight did not seem to be an obstacle to any of these women being strippers. I mean, it did seem to be welcomed by all. It was not something that appealed to me.
Yeah.
I mean, some of these chicks, I mean, you could serve drinks on this ass and still
See, that's a compliment.
Yes, I'm sure. Well, I was going to say, and also have a room for a 3-piece band, which I don't think is a compliment.
Serving a drink on the ass is a compliment in the South.
Right, because it means that's
an ass right there. But yeah,
well, I mean, look, there are asses that are larger than average, I'll say this, that are attractive, but they have to be like really in good shape.
Yeah, I like a toned ass. I like the legs to match the booty. That's gotta happen. Like that's a must.
What do you mean match? How can they not?
Sometimes some girls see some of those. It might have been dark in there. You might not have really seen it. Sometimes the legs look like those pool sticks, and the ass is crazy.
Oh, right.
We don't want to see that.
No, we don't want to see that. No.
I like a semi-athletic, natural look.
That's me too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're not that far apart. It seemed like you were defending the giant.
I'm a black man, so of course I love a fat old ass like that. I'm never gonna turn my back on that. But my personal taste,
I see,
is what I go for is a more toned. You know what I mean?
So you're just doing it for the people.
No, it's not for the people.
It's just you don't really like that big ass.
It's nature, man.
You gotta represent.
Nature calls, bro. See, that's not part of your nature. You know what I'm saying?
Correct.
You're not naturally programmed.
No, I am
fat
not.
old ass. Like,
no,
me, it's just in me. It's like fried chicken. You know what I mean? It's like.
And also, here's another reason why I'm probably the way I am. Because just as I became pubic, and I remember being, I think, age 11 when I first started to whack off and think about girls. Okay, that was just around the time that the fashion changed to very skinny girls. There was this model named Twiggy who was like the sensation. It was like called the waif look. Waif being like very pale and very thin, no tits. That was the look. I didn't exactly find that hot, but the trend definitely moved toward more like very tight and toned and thin. And the generation right before, and of course kids are always going to be against whatever their prior generation was for, that was more like women who are built like for the blue flame, except of course this was the 50s and 60s. They were white.
Right.
We're talking about Marilyn Monroe was kind of a fat ass. I mean, Jane Mansfield and that. You ever watch Mad Men? The redhead giant ass. This was what was big back then. So like that was to me like the last generation. I wanted the new thing, and that's probably why I'm stuck with that.
No, it makes sense. It's definitely part of the programming of what you see. It's like movies or like whatever. It could be a fucking cartoon. It could be a fucking show.
Right.
Like whoever you think is hot at that time, it kind of defines that. And like I'm 35, so I grew up in the 90s, so I was seeing more like fucking Pamela Anderson, like the big boobs, like, you know what I'm saying? Like that type of shit was cracking when I was a kid.
But she wasn't fat.
No, she wasn't a thick girl.
No.
But she was like, yeah.
Right.
That was when the bodies were normal. They were getting plastic.
Right.
But it wasn't all the way there yet, So there was still hot chicks from there, and then there was still like,
Carmen
the 80s
Electra.
Playboy,
It's amazing the way America
like those are the baddies from
decides like a chick is like the only pretty chick in the country. And so for like 10 years, Pamela Anderson is the only pretty girl.
Right.
And then it was like Carmen Electra is the only pretty girl we can find in this entire, and they're just like, so, like we get it, she's a cute girl. There are other girls out there, but they like, it's.
Yeah, they just key in on that shit.
Well, now we're in a different age. Things are more diverse. Things are better, right?
Yeah, no.
We can
kind of.
We can. Well, certainly I mean, please. We talk about magazine, like in the 90s. I think like maybe Naomi Campbell got a cover once, or maybe not even.
Probably.
Right.
I could see that.
Things have changed enormously.
Like her and like Tyra Banks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Tyra Banks is mostly this century.
Okay.
I mean, well, Tyra Banks, no, I take that back. She was a model in the 90s. She was in that movie, I forget. I think it wasn't Spike Lee. It was.
You're talking about.
School Days or.
It was Higher Learning.
Higher Learning.
Yeah, with Mekhi Phifer.
Yes.
And oh no, it wasn't Mekhi Phifer. It was Omar Epps.
Yes.
Yeah, yup. Yeah.
Anyway, so she's been around, but like, yes, I mean, you see like all the magazines, they are trying very hard to like make up for all their years of racism with who they put on their covers and which models they featured and all that kind of stuff. Like, it is not a bad time to be a black model right now.
No.
Which
I don't think it's, no, hell no. I think everything is like content driven too, which is really dope. Like a lot of these women get to put their personalities out there as well as look the way they want to, which I think is cool. Because I always thought like it was cool to hear the chicks like make jokes and like when they started moving into like becoming VJs on MTV and shit like that, or like I watched wrestling growing up too, so you started to see like hella like female wrestlers and shit like that too. So it was like, it's cool to just see them branch out and do boss shit and be hot. I like that.
Military kids,
Yeah.
in my experience, always like, they're usually better educated. They're usually like polite. You know, there's just something about a military dad. They just don't take shit. You know, because the military it attracts people who like something orderly, regimented. They know, you know, you can advance if you do this, do this. You follow orders. You know, you give orders. You know, it's like there are rules. And I feel like I see that in you.
My parents fucking hated the military.
Really?
Hell yeah.
But they still were of it.
Nah.
No?
Nah, they raised me how they wanted to raise me.
Really?
Yeah.
But why did they stay in? Why did he stay in?
My dad remarried and my stepmom was in, and she was more of the, you know, the ranking type. But yeah, my parents got in the military when they were young. They fell in love. They didn't want to separate. They had kids. My mom got the fuck out. My dad was a trip. But, you know, I think, I just come from a good upbringing. Like, my parents were really real. Like, they're super realistic. And definitely growing up around other people, like seeing different races and families and just knowing how to operate with people in general, you know what I mean? And then, like I said, when I lived in Pittsburgh, that shit was a culture shock. Like, it's really rough in Pittsburgh. Where you from?
New Jersey.
Jersey, all right, cool. So Jersey is fucked up too. Like, you can go to a good ass part of Jersey and then you could be in a really, really fucked up part of Jersey.
Newark.
So you know how good it could be and how bad it is. And Pittsburgh is the exact same way. And it's like, you have to have a choice whether you want to make it out of that shit. Or you can be exactly how everybody is around there. So that's mainly what it is. It's just bossing up and like knowing the difference. Like, you know what I mean? Seeing that shit happen to a lot of people and just choosing, you know what I mean? Like where I want to be with a lot of that.
It's a scandal.
Yeah, it's
just
crazy.
a scandal that because, like I said, a lot of blame to go around, but like, it doesn't have to be that way anymore. I feel like it's within our reach. Everybody blames the other side for the parts that they are, you know, each side does have some blame to go around for this. But to keep, like, why does Republicans, Democrats, they switch who's in office and nothing changes? Like, the city looks the same.
Right.
Like, if you drive through Newark, I drove through, I think it was last year, and I had to get from like where we landed at Teterboro in New Jersey.
Right.
I'm sure you've landed there.
Right.
Okay. And I had to get to like the Upper East Side of Manhattan. And for some reason, or maybe the concert was in Newark. Anyway, we drove through Newark and then across the bridge and it's like going from one world to another.
Oh, yeah.
To drive up Madison Avenue in New York City, like in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, after driving through Newark, you know, with the sneakers over the over the telephone line and the pit bulls and the stores that are closed, and you're like, why? What is it that why can't they both look like Madison Avenue? Why can't, you know, it's confounding.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. And it's crazy to come from that and just know the difference, like living out here. It's not like I want to go back to that or any of that shit, you know, or I don't even want my son to go through that shit because that's not normal.
Well, he won't.
Those aren't circumstances that like make you
rich.
A man or a person, or like you don't learn from, like, that shit is survival.
Your kid will not have to worry about that. Your kid will have to worry about the opposite problem, which is that he's a son of a celebrity.
Yeah.
He's a Nepo baby if he does anything, in show business, which is okay. There's a million of them. Nobody holds it against you. But, people do want to see that you can make it on your own.
Hell yeah.
And it's good for him.
Hell yeah.
You don't want him to ride your coattails because then he'll never be confident as his own person.
Yeah.
You got to make your own bones,
For sure. I think it's like, it's in you because it's like, nobody told me to do what the fuck I was doing. Nobody made me, was like, yo, you should start doing this or take this serious. I was 14 years old and I just started doing it and I wanted to. So I feel like if it's in him, whatever it is the hell he wants to do, he's just gonna do it. Like, nobody's gonna have to make him or force him into it. He's gonna find his passion and he'll figure it out. And if he wants to be awesome at it, he got the choice.
Yeah. Like I said, you're very level-headed.
I'd be chilling.
You're the people who think you're just this giant party animal, you're a tremendous disappointment.
Sorry to let him down.
Now, people sometimes want you to be your image.
Yeah.
Very badly.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially someone like you.
Hell yeah. They would love that.
You're not worried that they're going to find you too reasonable here?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, no, I think that's like a not an issue of mine, but I'm definitely not messy enough for people.
They just see a different side of you.
Yeah, well, not here in general. I just think like, because I don't mind chopping it up with you, and this ain't gonna ruin nothing.
No,
I just think for my career and how I'm perceived, I'm not messy enough. I'm not crazy enough. I'm pretty normal. Like I just do normal shit.
Well, and also, you're 35, you said?
Yeah.
Okay, here's the thing in your game, well, I guess everybody's, but definitely in music, you have to grow with your audience.
Yeah.
They're getting older too.
Mm-hmm.
If you stay the same, first of all, you look like an idiot.
Yep.
Because you're not 19 anymore.
Exactly.
Right? Okay. And your audience isn't either.
Mm-hmm.
What you want to do is keep the same people, but recognize that, we're all older now.
Right.
We're, there was some controversy a few years ago when she was a fan, I think it was of Cardi B, and she just like wrote a supportive thing, but she said like, hey, now that you're, I think it was 35 or maybe she's 40, whatever it was, like, you ever consider like maybe doing some stuff that's more like
appropriate?
Yeah. Right. And then like all of Cardi B's like, flying monkey, like in the Wizard of Oz army of haters, all the fans, the Cardi B fans, they like swarmed on this person who had dared to suggest that Cardi B wasn't perfect. And I think like somehow ruined her life as whatever. But it's just very instructive, I thought, that, like people either want you to keep that image forever, or like this fan who got fucking lambasted for just trying to be, supportively give, good criticism. She was asking for this artist that she liked to grow with me. We're a little older now. I like you, I want to keep liking you, but we're not in high school anymore.
Right.
Put out a record that I relate to. Yeah, I loved it back in whenever, and when you sang about, whatever it is, the
Yeah.
What is it, wet pussy? And
Yeah, for sure.
Right, is that the...
it's definitely some wet ass pussy.
Right, wet ass pussy. Is there any other kind? But
There is.
What? What are the
Dry ass pussy.
Well, that's not good. then you're not doing it right. I mean, a woman lets you know.
Oh, for sure. Sometimes it's not your fault though, player.
What? What's not you? It is always your fault. If you don't make.
But the thing about that, like, I think it's real difficult with artists, especially with Twitter, because you got so many people's opinions and shit. Is I think I agree with you for sure. It's like our job to bring the fans with us and shit.
Bring the fans with us. Grow. Let them. Yeah. I mean, when you look at some of the lyrics that artists are singing about when they're 20 versus 30, 40, right. It's you see like, oh yeah, that's something a teenager would never be interested in.
Right.
I'm singing about a real love that I lost. Well, that's not what you think about. That's when you're teenage love is different. Yeah. It's all about, well, it's just puppy love.
For sure. It's from personal experience, a lot of fans get caught up in their own experience with the music. So they always want that. They want that same beat selection, or they want that same flow, or they want those same things that originally grabbed them, when that's kind of selfish to ask an artist to like keep repeating that.
Right.
And the artists who fall into that are the ones who just kind of just do trends, or I call it like microwaving or reheating the soup. They're not like doing anything.
Well, you put out a sequel album. You put out Rolling Papers 2.
Yeah, not a sequel. Well, it doesn't sound like the first Rolling Papers.
I'm just busting your balls.
It sounds totally different.
Okay.
But because I would never try to recreate the sound of something. Like that's just horrible to me. But what I'm saying is a lot of artists get caught up in, it's easy to try to, listen to supply the fans what they're telling you they want. They're like, yo, go back to this, do this, because that's their connection with the music. So you feel like, oh, okay, they know what they're talking about because they know what they want to hear. So it's hard to break away from that and be like, nah, I'm going to program y'all to hear a whole totally different side of me. These are the beats that I like now. This is the subject matter that I want to talk about now. It's difficult for artists to, be on this road with their fans and then take them on a whole nother road. So
you have to lead,
yeah,
but you can't get too far ahead.
Yeah,
you can't get. It's like when someone's following you in their car.
Right.
You can't lose them.
True.
You have to make sure they're still behind.
Mm-hmm. But some people they don't follow. Like some people they get stuck. They just want that same thing over and over. They're not down with the change, or they're not accepting of it, and they want to tell you what was better or what you can do.
Well, I mean, it's always music is always gonna have a nostalgic element. Mm-hmm. It's because it's so primal, mm-hmm. and you hear it when you're doing other things, and then you relate them together, and very often they're good things. That's why anyone who's ever had one hit mm-hmm. can work for the rest of their life, because somebody got laid to that hit. Mm-hmm. And they want to, when they're 40 and now they have money to go see a band, mm-hmm. they want to go see the people who they first had sex with.
That makes sense.
You know what I mean? That mm-hmm. kind of thing. That not just sex, of course, but
it could be like made out or like whatever,
or just they're youthful. Everyone
had a good time. Like
yes, I mean everyone has youthful memories mm-hmm. that are special, and so you want to. So you're always, the Rolling Stones are always going to have to play Satisfaction, mm-hmm. even though they must be bored to tears with it. Mm-hmm. But then they would love to play stuff that they've done in this century, but they can't because they're imprisoned by their set list. But that's a band that's been around. I mean, they're literally 80. Mm-hmm. 80. Can you imagine doing this at 80?
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's amazing. Mm-hmm. And a little crazy.
I mean, it's good. I fuck with it.
Yeah, I mean, by the time you're 80, it'll just be an AI of you. I mean, it'll just, you won't even have to leave your house.
I'll probably still be doing it.
Yeah. You'll be doing it virtually.
I'll probably
virtually.
Still be outside.
You don't have to even fucking get up.
I'll get up. I'll bust one real quick.
But the sweet spot is to, yes, okay, I'm going to play some old stuff that you love, but then, we're going to move on.
Yeah.
We're going to live in the year we're living in, and we're going to be the age we are.
Right.
Because, if your fans come up with you, now they're 35, now they got a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. I totally agree. And saying how difficult it is doesn't take away from the responsibility. You gotta fucking do the scary thing and, like you said, keep people up to date.
Wow.
If you wanna fucking keep doing this shit. And criticism, it comes with the game. Like, our fan bases these days, they could be a lot. But it's called following us for a reason. You fucking follow us online, like, you know what I mean? So don't get too carried away.
There was a great comedian who once said, the only safe thing is to take chances.
Nah, for real.
So you keep that
in
your heart. That's what I will leave you with, Mr. Wiz, because I got to go take a whiz.
All right. Not the fucking first time I heard that.
Thank you. I really appreciate you making time to come here. I know you're a busy guy and a very popular guy. And
thank you too.